How you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing so good. My name is Jesse Kozarowski. I'm a writer at the Nocturnal. I just have to say that it is an absolute pleasure to speak with you today. I mean, your talent truly just shines through in everything you do, from your groundbreaking role as the chilling voice of the iconic M3GAN doll to even your brand new music. I mean, you've truly just captured the attention of audiences everywhere. So I'm so excited to delve into your creative process today, learn a little bit more about your upcoming music, and maybe discover what inspires such a versatile artist as yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm
Now, it's
excited.
no secret that your performance as M3GAN, the AI doll, was nothing short of sensational. It's clear that you've been on an incredible creative streak since. But before we dive into all that, you're now captivating audiences with your new music. I mean, your recent single, Six Foot Nothing, has been incredibly well received, and you've even been teasing snippets of your upcoming single, FBI, which I may or may not have been stalking on Instagram. You might even say that I'm better than the FBI. But I was curious what you could tell us about the creative process behind your work and what we can expect to hear from your new music and maybe even an album.
Yes, absolutely. So with my music, I love being quirky and relatable and anthemic. I think that's like the three words that would summarize what I want to do with my music is one, have people listen to it and have a good time listening to it, but also have some lyrics that are in there that people wouldn't expect. You know, when I talk about FBI, some of the lyrics in there have like Zillow.com and LinkedIn and like all these, you know, words that you don't really catch in songs very much. And I love to throw audiences off like that a little
Mhm.
bit and just have some fun and not be so serious with it. And so when I'm writing and I'm in that process, I'm always trying to come up with things that haven't been heard before, but also things that are relatable to an audience. And so they could, listen to the song, whether it be in a Chick-fil-A or whether it be on TikTok, and they can hear a lyric that will be like, oh my goodness, that's different, but also, wait, why is this kind of relatable? And so when I'm writing, I'm always trying to think of like how I can apply my own stories and what I want to say to things that are relatable, but also a little bit comical. And I think that comes from my acting side of the world, of the sense of, okay, how can I bring a little bit of comedy and unseriousness into my songs to make it enjoyable for the listener, but also tell a story? I think one of the biggest compliments I received is on one of my TikToks the other day. And they said, I love how each of your songs kind of tell a story from the beginning to the end.
I feel like your music definitely resembles like a young Taylor Swift when she tells story and like love story and things like that, but you kind of definitely have your own image, your own brand, and it's really refreshing to see in the music industry right now. So I was
Thank you.
curious, what role did personal experiences play in the songwriting process for the album?
Ooh. Okay, so for Six Foot Nothing specifically, I came in the room with the first lyric of the song, 6'2" is pretty cute, but he had an attitude. And I was experiencing a lot of like situationships in the past, and I think that's a very like common, unfortunate thing that happens in our generation. And so I always would go for guys that were like 6 foot or like really close. And I was like, well, how funny would it be to like talk about the different scenarios that I've like witnessed and experienced? So I think that was my biggest inspiration for 6 foot nothing, is to like tie, it's not giving away my love life, but it's just like little sprinkles and teases of like different things that have happened in my life, which I didn't even know how many people could relate to, which was really cool. And then when it came to FBI, I always had the title in my head, FBI, and so many people on socials and platforms are always talking about the different things that we all do in stock, whether it's people's TikTok
Been there.
reposts
Yeah.
or, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like everybody, people can say that they don't stalk, but everybody stalks these days, whether it's looking through people's comments or following list or whatever it may be. Like everybody's been there, especially when it comes to a love interest. And I think that's why I kind of was just wanted to fearfully just go out and be like, here we go. Like I stalk and I think you do too. And so many people are like, oh my goodness, yeah, I looked up his house on Zillow, and like all these funny little things that sound really stalker and creepy-ish, which they kind of are, but so much of our generation does it. And because we have just so much access to everything now with our
Mhm.
phones and everything. So I don't know. I love the comical element of it all, but so many people are like, "Yeah, you're so right. Like I've done that, but like, we keep it on the down low."
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I mean, it's clear that you pour your heart and your soul into your craft, so I'm curious to know how you manage to balance your passion for music with your other creative endeavors, such as acting and voice acting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say I present myself as like a stool, and I have like different legs of my stool. I
Love
have
that.
my social
I've
media
never heard
leg, my
something like
acting
that.
leg, and my music leg. And whatever one I'm not working on, I'm working on the other because this industry as a whole is so unpredictable. Like, you can be working on a project and the next year you're not, or you can
Mhm.
be on a series and next time you're not. And so I'm very blessed
Not
to
to
be
time
able
out,
to.
but I remember watching you on Raven's Home, like, when I was a kid, so that's why I said it's crazy. I mean, you
Oh
truly
my
have
goodness.
just come so far. It's crazy.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was. I look back on that and I'm like, oh my goodness. Like some people don't even recognize it was me because I was brunette at the time.
Right. No, I
and
feel like you, like, are the queen of internet sensation, like, not to bring it up,
thank
like, Penny
you,
Nickel Dime, Megan, I mean, you truly just
thank
know
you.
how to turn any moment into, like, a cultural phenomenon, and I love it.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much. Ironically, like all the meme things just came so unexpectedly, and like I mean, it wasn't even supposed to be anything. Literally,
Mhm.
I was modeling for a dress company, and the woman just took a video of it, and it
Yeah.
blew up and became this whole entire thing that I'm now known as. Which for me, I'm just like, this is crazy. Some people still come up to me till this day and ask me to do it, and I'm like, that was 6 years ago.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
how is this still relevant? Like, I never understood it, but I'm just like, hey, thank
Like,
you.
"Hey, hey," right?
um, but yeah, I think overall as a whole, it's just balance is
Mhm.
everything, and I have to give it up for my team so much. My acting team and my music team really work well
Yeah.
together. So I spend way too much time on my Google Calendar. I'm obsessed with that thing. Always updating it for my different teams to make sure that we got everything going on. But I think so many people are like, well, you can only do one. You can only pick acting or music. And I'm like, why? Like, you don't have to box yourself into anything these days. You can
Mhm.
do anything. I think there's time for everything, and everybody's busy, but like at the same time, there's always, I don't know, there's always room to add more in and
Yeah.
sprinkle it in. I'm such a
I'm, like, the
workaholic,
same way.
so I
Mhm.
love to just stay busy all the time, whether it's doing music or acting or whatever it may be. And so I think all it is really balance, and I think my teams are awesome because they work so well together. So I'm really grateful for that. But yeah.
You're like speaking my language. I couldn't agree more with everything you're saying, but do you find that your experiences in your other creative fields influence your music or vice versa?
Mm, yeah, absolutely. I think I think acting has played a big part because sometimes when you're songwriting, you have to expand a situation or dramatize a situation or imagine what it would be like if something, if it's a love story and you didn't fully get the full love story that you wanted, but you still want to write about it, you kind of have to use your imagination to see, what else happened, and you make it up, or maybe it's not made up and it's a complete story that happened to you, and so it's a lot easier to pull from. But I think being an actress, I've been able to, in some songs like 6 Foot Nothing, add even more sass than maybe Jenna truly is. Like I'm
Yeah.
so I think that's the nice part about acting is I've been able to, in my songs, whether it's just slight commentary or little ad libs that we put in, I can use my acting side. And whenever I'm in the
Mhm.
studio doing ad libs for something for my song or whatever it may
Mhm.
be, they're always like, use your acting chops, here you go, because
Mhm.
it's just as much as a little sass, or whether it's sad or whatever you're doing. Because most of the time, when you're writing music, like it's situations that happened in the past, and you may be cutting a vocal that was done a while back ago. So maybe your heart's not, heartbroken as it was when you wrote it, but the song's still good. So you're like, okay, I got to go back to that place that I was when I wrote this song.
Yeah. Yeah, so I loved hearing all about your music and just where you're
Thank
going
you.
with it. I can't wait to hear more, but I would love if we could talk a little bit more about your previous work in Megan and how maybe you
Yeah.
approach bringing such a unique character to life.
Thank you. Yeah. For Megan, it was the whole thing was very unexpected. I auditioned for the role in my closet. I had no clue what it was for. I thought it was potentially for like a video game,
Mhm.
or I had no clue. All I knew was the name of the role and like a brief description that she was an AI robot. And so I thought to myself, there's two different ways that I could approach this. Is I could approach it like Siri or Amazon Alexa,
Mhm.
or just a monotone robot that we tend to hear, all the time now because robots are so
Mhm.
prevalent in our society. But I kind of sat with it for a little bit when I received the role, and I just saw the amount of dialogue that this character had, and I thought, well, if this character is only going to speak monotone for the entire film, or whatever it may be, because at this point when I got the script, I was like, okay, this probably is more than a video game because it's just so much dialogue. And so I thought, well, if it's going to be anything more than like 5 minutes, people are going to get really bored if she's
Mhm.
just talking monotone and the same cadence the entire time. So I just decided to give her some sass and flair. And I mean, that's what I was told that booked me the part, is because I
Mhm.
just did it differently than anybody else.
Not
And
only that, you gave her some vocals. I mean, when Titanium started playing in the theater, I was gagged. I was like, there is no way. I mean, it kept us on our
thank
toes, but
you.
it was such a journey throughout that movie. So I think that having that extra layer of bringing some more personality to it, some sass, just kind
Thank
of
you.
gave her more of a personality, more than it would have been if you kind of had gone that monotoned.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely think it made audiences fall in love with her really quickly because she was so spunky and sassy,
Yeah.
and you never really knew what was going to come out of her mouth next.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm excited. We're working on the second film right now. And
I was just gonna ask. I said M3GAN
yeah,
2.0 is in the works, so I was curious if you
it
can
is.
tease anything about what fans can expect from the next installment. By the way, I'm fans.
Thank you. I would say it's going to take a very unexpected turn. Every person that has like made a guess about what's happening next has been incorrect. And so, at least to me, I was at HorrorCon this past week, and everybody was asking me different things, and I can't say much, but all I could say was like, nope, good guess.
Good
And
guess.
so
Wow.
I'm very, very excited for audiences to see what happens, and yeah, just see what unravels next, because it's quite a turn for
Yeah.
sure.
Wow. I'm like already on the edge of my seat already. I don't love horror films. I feel like this one was just such like a pop culture phenomenon. It was very camp, and I think it brought in a lot more audiences to this genre of movies, which was really refreshing.
Thank
So,
you. Yeah, it was really sweet. I got to really interact with a lot of the horror community this
mhm,
past weekend at Midsummer Scream, and it was really cool because a lot of families came up to me and told me that Megan was like their children's first horror film. And I
mhm.
was so honored because I mean, I'm like, oh my goodness, I could never watch that at 8 years
Yeah.
old. So
Right?
applaud to the 8-year olds who could watch that. Because I did not start watching horror till I was like 13.
I still like
Um,
can't watch. I said M3GAN was like one of the first for me, but I was like, wait, I'm kind of hooked.
Thank you. But I think it was sweet to see how, because it had some comical elements of it, and because I think the bond between like Katie and Megan in the film,
Mhm.
it was really cool to see how like some younger audiences really enjoyed the film.
Your career is just incredibly diverse. I mean, as we talked about this whole
Thank
interview, and you seem to have mastered multiple creative outlets with such ease. It's fascinating to see your journey unfold. So, I was wondering how your artistic vision has evolved over the years and where you see yourself heading in the future. I mean, you're 20 years old now. I feel like we have the whole world right out for the taking.
Thank you. You know, I think I just see what's ahead, and I'm just like, let's just have fun and try new things. I think there's a lot of variety that my career has had that I'm very grateful for thus far. But I'm just excited to see where that's going to expand. I'm really excited to dive further into music and also just working on more films and projects. I'm just super excited for that. I think ultimately one of my biggest goals is to dive into some more genres of TV
Mhm.
and film that I haven't dove into before. I think for M3GAN, it was like one of like practically my first horror film. And so it was really fun and a challenge to dive into a new genre like that. So I am really excited and hopeful for the future to unravel some new genres and to see
Yeah.
how I can challenge myself. I think as an actress, that's like my biggest goal, is to challenge myself and try new genres and new things. So I think in the acting realm, it's to do that. And I think for music, it's just to grow and expand as an artist and release consistently. I'm so excited about, like, I'm starting that now. And I am so excited for my stories to be told, but also to do that consistently and to grow alongside my audience. I think I started social media very young and the entertainment industry very young. So some people have already grown with me, but I think it's really special to, you know, have your audience grow alongside you and grow up with you, because
Yeah.
some of the stories that hopefully I'm going to tell are going to be relatable for them, but we're also living life together in a way,
Mhm. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
that makes sense. So I think that's my biggest goal in music, is just consistency and just telling stories that I'm proud of and that my audiences enjoy. And I think when words fail, music speaks, and that's what I really just
Snaps
want
to
to
that. Yeah.
speak good stories and have fun. And I want to tour and everything as well, but I got to
Oh,
get
yeah.
more music out before that happens. And so, I think I'm just full steam ahead. We'll just see what happens. I think that's the beauty of this industry, is it's so unpredictable and anything can happen and change, quite frankly, overnight. And so
Mhm.
I'm just, let's buckle up and have fun and just enjoy. I think that's kind of my motto right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, with every successful career, there's bound to be obstacles. So, what was the biggest challenge that you faced so far, and can maybe share how you overcame it and how it's kind of helped you for the future?
Sure. I think my biggest, ooh, I would say in music, I would say it's choosing the right songs.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't realize entering into this how many songs you're going to have and then how many songs you release. And it's a very difficult decision to choose which songs you think should be out there. Cause I mean, I can have like 60 songs and we're like, okay, let's pick, let's pick seven. Let's go with
Yeah.
these seven. And you're like, well, how do I even choose? Like all of these have happened and are born, and they're like your child in a way, because you created them, and you're like, oh, some you like more than others, and then other days you're like,
That's when
wait,
you have
I
the
don't like
deluxe
this one
edition
as
where you throw them
much.
all in there.
Yeah, I mean, they're all like ever changing, and like every day you're like, okay, wait, this is my favorite, no, this is my favorite. So I think in the music space, that's probably my hardest debate, is like choosing which ones, because also when you do a project, you want everything to like fit nicely together as well. So I think that's been my biggest music challenge. And then I think for acting, it's just the the unpredictability of it. You
Yeah.
never know when your next role is going to be, which is so thrilling and so exciting, but it can also be disappointing at times too when you're so close to something. But I've been in it since I was 11 years old, or I mean even 10. And so I'm used to that rejection and that, like, oh my goodness, I'm so close. But I would say that was my biggest, I think that's the biggest acting struggle, but I don't really think it's too much of a struggle. It's just life. What opportunities you're meant to get, you're gonna get, and the ones that you aren't, you aren't.
I mean, wow, you were just so, so well spoken, and this conversation was really inspiring
Thank
to me. I
you.
feel like we're like speaking the same language here. But I just want to
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today,
Thank,
talk about all your exciting projects and what's to come. I cannot wait to see what you do next, and I cannot wait for your new music, for M3GAN 2.0, just for all of it. Thank you so much, Jenna.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it.